All right, Dr. Samadi is with us. He's a former host of Fox News Channel's Sunday House Call. He's also going to be talking about this week's riots. Dr. Samadi, thanks for being with us today, sir.
Good morning. Good to be with you.
Dr. Samadi, you grew up in Iran as a child there. You're telling us that you remember the unrest and the protests and the riots in 1970s Iran and what went with that. Can you give us a little insight on that, Dr. Samadi?
Yeah, so the Iran that I know is very different than the Iran that you know. I knew when Shah of Iran was in Iran. I grew up as a Persian Jew and in a Muslim country, and went to all boys Catholic school. Belonged to Don Bosco in Vatican. So from the education standpoint, it was an incredible opportunity. I spent a lot of time in church. I spent a lot of time in temple. I had Muslim friends. So I grew up in a very diverse religious country. And life was wonderful. I was a captain of a soccer team. I was a typical boy growing up. At the age of 15, one day, I never forget, it was a Friday morning, and it's a day of holiday over there. And all of a sudden, I see people are burning cars out of nowhere, breaking glasses and jumping on the cars, exactly very similar to what we saw last week with all these lootings and our offices in the city right around here. And that's where it brought all those memories. And I went home, and I was talking to my father, and he said something called revolution. And at the age of 15, I had no idea the word revolution meant. But now we know exactly what happened. And they broke into the banks, stores, fires, burning, looting, destroying people's lives. Fast forward 40 years later, look at exactly what happened to that beautiful country where at some point was one of the richest, most peaceful, most prestigious. Years ago when you were coming out and you say you're Iranian, they knew that you're from the culture, you're from class, you're from Shah class. Now they look at you like you're some nuclear bomb terrorist. It's disaster what they did with that country. Even though I will tell you that there are a lot of good Iranians in the country and they're suffering. So this has nothing to do with people of Iran, but this has to do with the way government. Same thing in Venezuela, same thing in many different countries, in Afghanistan, in Syria. So what happened 2 weeks or a week ago and what happened in our streets over here was despicable. It's disgusting what they did. People have been at home for months. They have lost all of their savings. They've been on the lockdown. Every time they were about to come out, Fauci would lock them down again in their home. They have lost all of their savings, and we were just about to open up, and look at what's going on. You come into Manhattan right now, you see these beautiful stores have been all boarded up with woods. It looks like you're in Middle East, in the middle of a war zone. So it's really brought a lot of bad memories, and I'm very concerned about what's going on in this country.
We're with Dr. David Samadi. He's the Director of Men's Health and Urologic Oncology at St. Francis Hospital, Long Island. He grew up in Iran. He was there during that upheaval there. You live in New York. What is your message, Dr. Samadi, to Mayor Bill de Blasio and Governor Cuomo?
As I said the other day on Newsmax, my message is he needs to step up. He needs to. His job is not to protect these looters. His job is to protect and bring civility to our town. His job is to protect the businesses. People are getting hurt. The governor is sitting back, giving beautiful presentations every day. He has an honorary doctor's degree of all these presentations he's given. And de Blasio is falling asleep behind the wheel. And these people are basically just destroying this beautiful city. And nobody's in charge. So there's no problem with demonstration if it's peaceful. I would love to know who is really sponsoring all these demonstrations, how organized they are, and who pays for them. That's a discussion for another day. But the fact that they're basically robbing and burning and putting fire and putting police officers' lives in danger, it's unacceptable. And he needs to act like a real mayor and do what is the right thing to do for the city.
Well, let's see. Let's see if he does that. I don't think he is. He basically won't let the National Guard in. He's fighting with Cuomo about that. What do you think of President Trump's call to call in the military if the violence continues and these governors can't get it under control?
Well, I think he's determined to do what's good for the country, and one of the reasons why I like the decision he's making is I don't think it's at this point it's even about Trump versus Biden. I think it's about America versus everything else. Mm-hmm. And I think that one of the reasons why I support Donald Trump, President Trump, is because he puts America. He's thinking about America. He's trying to bring the jobs back over here. He's trying to make our healthcare system independent of China. He's trying to do what's right for the workers in this country. And for someone who has lived here for 40 years, 37 years, lived in Europe for about 3 years, and 15 years in Middle East, I will tell you, John, this is the best, most beautiful country in the world. And if anybody, whether it's Donald Trump or anybody else, will fight for this country, they have my vote. So his goal is to make sure he would bring peace. The idea that these people, they got so close to the White House and they have no respect for the president. They have no respect for the White House. And the way they treat everything with no respect, these reporters that go in there, they sit and they stretch their legs and they ask questions about why you have to call this a Chinese virus and so on and so forth. It's just ridiculous. And that's one of the reasons why if he puts America first, whether it's by controlling whatever it takes, whether it's with the army, that's his business because I'm a physician. I'm not a politician. But whatever it takes to make America first, I certainly will support him.
Dr. Soldi, last question. Fauci, social distancing, lockdowns, might not have school in the fall. Maybe he's going to have school. How do we justify a lockdown when in Washington, D.C. tomorrow we're going to get over 1 million people here in a march? How does that work now?
Where is CDC and where is Fauci now? It's amazing that, not one statement about how concerned he is about what's going on. Not one statement on CNN saying, look, guys, what happened to social distancing? So, seriously, where are these guys?
And then where are the body bags? Where are the body bags? Because I was told that if you don't social distance, you're good. Everybody's going to die, and there'll be body bags.
Correct. So Greg Kelly on his show said, Dr. Samadi, you should run for Surgeon General because, the 2 million body bags was all like a big hype, and we need a new person. So I would tell you that these riots, that what's going on, it's good and bad and ugly. The good thing is that they're young. You don't see nursing home people on wheelchair in these riots doing this hunger. The bad part of it is that there are mostly African Americans, and we know that the risk of death with COVID among the minorities is much higher, and that's a big concern that we have. And the other bad part of it is that you're screaming. You're not going to stick to your mask. You're not going to stick to your social distancing. You're shouting. You're screaming. You're spitting. You're washing your face with tear gas. All the body fluid is all over the place with no gloves or everything. And that's really a disaster if Fauci is correct. And the ugly part of this is that, if the numbers will go up just about when the economy is about to take off, it's going to be another PowerPoint presentation. Oh, we got to go back into a lockdown and delay this until the election. So I think, unfortunately, the science and the medical part of it is secondary, and the politics is getting ahead of us. And that's very unfortunate.
I tell you what, I really want to thank you for your insight, Dr. Soldi. Thank you. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you very much, Johnny.
Have a good weekend. Stay safe there in Long Island. Thank you,
Dr.
Francis Hospital.